Hi. Hi. Yeah. Well, I haven't streamed today. Hey, how's it going? All right, gonna actually just have that in the background really quietly. Hi. I gotta figure out what I need to work on first. Oh, there's work I want. Actually, I know what I want. Some of the stuff I want to work on, but I need to take a look at it beforehand. We gotta survey what we need to do. So, I prepared some YouTube videos as well that I just kind of found on the internet because internet. That we're gonna learn. I'm gonna review history because I have been forgetting my history. So I found like a playlist that's like, yeah. I don't know how good it is, but I'll watch it because I haven't seen it before, so it'll be pretty good probably. And it was like one of the first results. Right. So here's the goal. All right. We gotta make our stuff work. Okay. Yeah, we gotta make it work. So the big thing is here. I'm just gonna have to do all this. Let's just get like bases. Right. So I know I didn't like read. Oh, fine. Go through this too. All right. So we got basically everything real. So first things first, we gotta get rid of some stuff because this tank tree's getting clogged to high hell, and it's not working out. Everything up here is fine. I'm okay with all this. This has good progression. I'm okay with all this. Good progression here. Supplies are fine. These are fine. More than fine. We need to make a sticky note. Sticky note. Nah. It'll be fine. Where's my notepad? Notepad. Thank you. Actually, here, let's. Add. Huh. All right. Well, I tried. I tried to make my notepad visible. That's fine. So we're gonna adjust the US half track price because it's not worth using because of how expensive it is compared to everything else. We can just remove the hokey because it's just not used. It's supposed to be like an affordable entry, like level armored vehicle because it's actually really bad. It's just not good, but it doesn't even perform good enough for that either. The half track just does better, so we'll just have the half track. It's fine. Humvees are fine. Actually, we need to add crew to the Humvees. We gotta add crews to the Humvees because they spawn in with no crew for some reason. By that I mean I didn't give them crew. I forgot why. Weaseltoe's fine. I never use it, but someone might like it. Whatever. Add artillery. Splitting path. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a path, right? From the mortar, we'll have change. Oh yeah. And well, we're gonna have a splitting path for artillery. So I'm gonna see about getting add 105mm artillery, and then maybe find a 200+mm artillery piece. And then we can have a splitting path where up here kind of is for, you know, towables, and then down here will be mobile artillery, which will lead to these guys like the attackums, that stuff. Naturally, you're probably going to go down this route, but I want to give the option to be available. Because if I want to force it to be, do I research this and have really solid, well, a 105 and have really solid artillery, or have like the BT-42 and Sheridan be my artillery for a while before we can research the Paladin? Oh yeah, Reese Paladin / MSTA research, because they cost like fuck all. Same with the grad. BM. And then my tank line is just all kinds of scuffed. We can keep the Hellcat. I think I'm gonna remove the Panther because there's something wrong with it. So like whenever it blows up, it I'm gonna clean up my already. The Panther 2. I named it Panther 2 in the notes, but whatever. Whenever it blows up and the turret flies off or something, basically whenever it's disabled, it causes a massive frame rate drop for some reason. I think there's something wrong with the particles. Or there's something wrong with it. So we're just gonna remove it. And we'll swap it out for like a Panther that's already in the game. Tigers are fine. Make edit. No, we already have a heavy tank line because it'll go New Balfour Sorry, and it skips straight to KV8, which is kind of funny, but in defense, it's a flamethrower version, which goes to King Cobra, Long Cobra, Long Cobra, Long Cobra. Yeah, Long Cobra. Not actually called the Cobra, just the Cobra King. And then it goes to Tiger. That's not awful. Alright, so instead of make dedicated heavy tank line, fix the fuck up that is the heavy tank line. Modern tanks already have a pretty steep cost to get into. Not to mention, to get to these, you have to go through. But we could make it more steep. Place M48 A5 as it is broken. It's actually broken. There's a bunch of air gaps in the armor that you can shoot through. In addition, the thing itself just kind of breaks. You can't use the roof-mounted machine gun sometimes, and we'll just get rid of it. Plus, I skip it half the time anyway, which means it's not enjoyable to use. So we'll skip it. Trying to make it everything enjoyable to use. Find new starter tank. Armored cars. Make them their own line. That way we don't have this weird Lego stacking. I want to rearrange this. Alright, time to pull up paint. Actually, what I could do is I could take a screenshot of it. Yeah, we'll take a screenshot of it and pull it up in Photoshop. Why not? Photoshop. Come here. Oh, here. Get out of here, FNAF. All right. Here's the deal. All right. Where'd it go? Lost track of it. Right. So I found this. And we could do this in the meantime, okay? It's some guy narrating it, and I think it's from old TV show, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So, here, watch that while I work on this. We're gonna watch this together. New file.
This is the story of the greatest war of world history. It's the story of a terrible time, an age when the most wicked evils were perpetrated. 74 million were to die, 5.5 million Germans, 21 million Chinese, 21 million Russians,
Damn.
6 million Jews, and 3.5 million Japanese.
Where's my
The images
screenshot?
of the past send a message
A
warning from the past,
here we go.
lest we forget.
Crop this out. Give me this. I don't need to make it this complicated, but it'll make it easier for me to visualize. Expand image.
March 1933. A new chancellor of Germany is elected. He does not seize power with conspiracy. He uses no violence. He is made chancellor according to the laws of German democracy.
All right, cool. And I've got this set up. Let's redraw this.
To destroy. He promises openly and truthfully to end the unfinished business of World War I, with blood, if need be.
Fresh.
Is Adolf Hitler.
All right, so new tool. Red for will be for tanks. So here's what we're gonna do.
Was unfinished business. Without knowledge of the great European War of 19...
Unfinished business. What a way to phrase it.
Comprehend the war that convulsed the world from 39 to 45. Even the fighting that tore across the remotest Pacific Islands and the densest Asian jungle.
We'll go straight across. Right.
The leaders of the world in 1939
We'll have
were
1,
men shaped by the
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And there were older men who had seen a generation of the young lost, consumed by an industrial war machine. When these men took part in the post-war cult of
spicy coffee.
and monuments across the continent, they felt the presence of millions of souls.
I added too much cinnamon this time.
standing behind them.
That's okay.
To understand how and why war returned to Europe in 1939 is to understand how and why war came to Europe in 1914 and how and why that
We have
conflict
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 slots. That should be more than enough room and more than enough to work with.
The new country of Germany could be accepted as a great power by other, much older powers, France, Russia, and Britain. In a tangle of alliances, a climate of aggressive
We'll get rid of the new Balfarzoig.
burst into war.
So that is this guy,
World War I ended in a strange
I think. Hold on. Wait,
anticlimax.
where's my mouse? It's this guy. I mean, this guy.
It's
We'll
hard
get rid of
to
this guy,
remember
and what we're gonna do is we're gonna move,
victory
shuffle these down,
ending in abject Russian
right?
surrender and the conquest of vast
And we'll have
lands.
two more slots
Itself
over here.
collapsed to defeat without being invaded.
We're gonna shuffle all this down. We're gonna move these guys somewhere else,
That their armies had been
and we'll start the heavy tank line
betrayed,
at the Panzer
not
IV
defeated at all.
and just go from
Fighting
there.
stopped suddenly in 1918 with the armistice. Armistice is a
Unless I
word
can
that
find
means
an earlier heavy tank
temporary
that's
halt
better.
to fighting.
Maybe.
The First World War was supposedly
see.
ended by the Versailles Conference and Treaty. A summit of France, Britain, Italy, and America met to decide on a system of security that would guarantee peace in Europe. Lenin's new revolutionary government
figured the
in
game would
Soviet
crash.
Union was not invited. Germany was summoned only to sign the resulting treaty. The French demanded that the treaty formally blamed Germany for starting the war. Britain saw the war more as a terrible mistake. Every line of the treaty followed from the supposed German guilt. The guarantee of peace was to be the punishment and weakening of Germany. In fact, each line was a recipe for a future renewed war. Germany lost territory in the east where huge areas had been won from Soviet Russia. These gains of what in later years would be called Lebensraum, living space, were taken away and used to create a new nation, Poland. A high-minded and noble idea was that states should be decided by nationality. Therefore, the Polish had a country of their own, rather than living as minorities in Germany or Russia. But in drawing the new map of Europe, the principle of nationality was forgotten at Germany's expense. The new Poland was given access to the sea, and in the process, millions of Germans became a minority in Poland. The new Czechoslovakia was to be given defendable borders and included millions of Germans, the Sudeten Germans, and a minority of disaffected Slovaks. Contrary to the basic principle of nationality, German-speaking Austria was forbidden to unite with Germany, lest the two countries combine their strength. Versailles created a Europe where Germany, still a big, powerful country,
Right, we gotta
was
fix
bordered
our
in the east by weak, smaller countries, countries with whom Germany now
nation.
had scores.
I want to see the other tech trees. And I think I already know what goofed that. It's just the way the armies are set up.
Bankrupted the economies of both Britain and
The
France.
alliances.
The Versailles settlement insisted that Germany
Notepad.
pay reparations.
Plus plus.
Huge sums were to be paid to pay off the debts of France and Britain, repaying money loaned by America. The sums were unimaginably large, crippling the German economy. Versailles imposed military humiliation upon Germany, insisting the Rhineland, that area of Germany adjacent to France, be demilitarized. The German army, the largest in Europe, was to be cut to 100,000, not enough to defend.
That should
Germany,
hopefully fix
let
it. If it
alone
doesn't,
start a
I'm in
war.
trouble.
The army was to have no modern weapons.
I'm gonna have to do like
tanks, or
bust around with a
aircraft
bunch.
that had revolutionized World War I. The German Navy was to have no U-boats. Versailles established the League of Nations, which would provide a forum in which international security could be policed and aggression contained. As the people of Europe mourned a lost generation, they lived in a continent where the tensions that had torn the nations apart remained, and upon which had been layered new resentments and new grievances. Now, the most powerful country in Europe remained with its strength, size,
That should fix it.
industry, economy, and population.
I'm pretty
intact,
confident that should fix it.
and
If it
the
doesn't,
whole
I'm gonna be
catalog
horrified.
of further grievances.
It fixed it. Cool. Actually, I'm gonna open this menu. And it's gonna be like, "Boo-doo-doo." Oh no, cool. Build barrage, recon. Na, 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 na,
If
na.
Germany refused to pay, if she rearmed, if she moved
Okay.
troops into the Rhineland, the only option open to France and Britain was to restart the ghastly horror of the Western Front, to renew the war, fought to end all wars.
Fly stuff. Okay.
Versailles was weakened from the
Lamens.
start.
Mega mortar. So why is this mortar separate
The British
from?
thought the settlement unfair and unrealistic. The French that the punishment of Germany had not gone far enough.
These mortars.
That the only punishment
Why are
of
you
German
separate?
breach was war, total war, made international relations a high-risk game, made for a bold individual gambler. What of the United States, the power whose entry into the war in 1917 had weighed the scales against Germany? The USA turned in upon itself, concerning itself with the 1920s and all that decade means for American history. Having entered into world affairs, the United States...
We'll just research all those, and I'm gonna look at their unit composition, because I might change some infantry as well.
Refusing to ratify the treaty, refusing to join the League. The oceanic distances separating the old from the new world seemed to provide insurance from the problems of Europe. The map of Europe
Oh,
was
what is
now
that?
a map to war, the history determined, and a
What is
waiting
that?
line
I think I know what it is. But what is that? Oh, we should probably get some of these. No, we have
Already,
some.
As Hitler took power
Some.
in 1933, the system of reparations had collapsed amidst the world economic crisis. For 13 years, reparations had been a major
We already have
issue
rocket
keeping
artillery.
the
That's
war
fine.
alive.
Armored vehicles.
Germany
Let's look.
had lurched from financial disaster to disaster. Any individual
These are Lend-Lease.
money
We don't
troubles,
need.
the great inflation and the huge unemployment of
Puma's
the
fine. Those,
1920s
yeah, we
were
got those
laid
already.
at the feet of Britain and France. The Germans felt robbed. The
8
French
for
swindled,
that little
but the
bad boy.
Germans were trying
Woo!
not to pay.
That's
The
expensive.
British saw reparations as part of the problem, feeling their abandonment would bring about a European economic recovery. A run on banks in the early 1930s had caused...
Ah, they separated the Panzer III lines into the actual lines. That's cool. Well, you should immediately go for the Panzer IV. Because all the rest of the stuff is kind of... Unless you want flamethrowers.
Britain came to regard everything the
Let's
French
get
said
these.
about Germany as bad sense. The French to feel disillusioned.
God, those existed now.
The story of the 20
Uh,
years is complicated, and it's just too easy to see a plot by Hitler, some system at work. Hitler was a dreamer of great schemes, but whether events followed his plan is debatable. Plans and systems are imposed by history on events which are random, on the actions of individuals.
Alright, let's just
that
go
are
with that for now.
spontaneous and
Let's take a look.
improvised. Plans may
Officer.
dreams may be dreamt, but the gap between idea and reality is
Yeah,
large.
we already kind of have that. They have a medic in this?
Hitler presented the German people with one big idea: the destruction of what he called the Slave Treaty of Versailles, and to once more make Germany a power.
Graph.
Hitler's policy
That's fine. We already have some
for power in
equivalents.
1933 was a
Luftwaffe.
succession pact,
We don't
each
really
a
need one of
line-by-line
these, to be
deletion
honest.
of Versailles.
It would just take up more space that we don't care for.
One of the great paradoxes
We already have our own
One of
this.
the many ways in which other political leaders and the ordinary voter in all countries misread Hitler and Nazism was in believing that Hitler was like every other politician, capable of saying anything out of office, but doing something very different when in real power. Hitler was a politician of action and did just what he said he would do. He promised to abandon
Do we need
democracy. He
Aufklärung?
blamed the enemy of
Aufklärung?
strong leadership, and at the first opportunity proceeded to
Probably
set
not.
about that very
Actually, we do. We do need one. I don't know if we already have one or not, though. I might have already made one. I'm just like getting ahead of myself.
1 month after Hitler took office, the German parliament, the Reichstag, burnt to the ground. It was arson. The attack
Rifle-
on the center of German
I mean,
democracy is shrouded in conspiracy.
We do already have one of those. Pioneer Squad we do have.
Is central to the history of Nazi Germany. The
Hey,
Nazis
I love this
blamed
little buggy.
communists and claimed the arson was the prelude to a communist coup, a plot to
Oh, there's actually a reason to get
establish
motorized now,
Soviet
because they come with, like, their own built-in anti-tank now.
polarized
And 2 machine
politics
guns.
of Germany at that time, that was the goal of the Nazis' Bolshevik enemies.
Armored,
The
I
alleged
think
arsonist was
oh, they
Magnus
get 2 machine
van
guns
der
too.
Lubbe, a young Dutch communist arrested in the building that
Okay.
night. His voice is silent as he was tried, condemned, and executed.
Oh, that was
History
fast.
will forever turn over and question the events of that night in Berlin. Was van der Lubbe the patsy of the Nazis, who started the fire themselves to create a crisis they would then exploit?
Armored Pioneer Squad? Do we need? Nah, we don't need Armored Pioneer.
Of a real communist plot? Was there no plot, but an imagined plot that a paranoid Hitler thought real? Was van der Lubbe the lone gunman, responsible for the whole attack himself?
Jaeger Squad? Oh, this is just like
History can
all
only show
MB40s. Yeah, this is like a
the
Storm
result of the
Squad.
fire, the physical and the political
Gebirgsjäger.
destruction of German democracy. The Nazis used the emergency to suspend parliamentary democracy and arrest and imprison
No,
all
we're good.
communist and
Brandenburgers,
socialist opponents.
we're double good, I
The
think.
office of Chancellor was combined with that of President. Head of government became head of state. The army swore personal loyalty to Adolf Hitler, and a parliamentary democracy became a dictatorship.
Fallschirmjägers?
Vague and fanciful ideas of Jewish responsibility for the war, which
Motorized
seemed
Fallschirmjägers?
when the Nazis were an opposition party, were turned into real action. According to Hitler, the Jews sought the destruction of the Aryan Nordic German peoples, and it caused war between Britain and Germany.
Maybe?
Hitler
Counter-Strike
blamed
Squad?
the
Oh
Jews
my
for
god.
using Slav people via Soviet communism
That's
to
aggressive.
threaten the
Oh, no,
German
that's an anti-tank squad. Oh, okay.
The result was persecution of Jewish people and businesses, both formal and informal, that spread to all parts of German society.
Supply is fine. In case you're wondering what's the point of this carries more supply. Just as it, you know.
Hitler did as he promised.
Antoness, we already have one of
Said he
those.
would end unemployment, and did
We don't
so.
really need this.
Implementing
This,
poverty was a German New Deal. A
we have
recovery
Bofors
was every
in
bit as
this,
successful
at
as
that.
of Roosevelt in the USA. Money was pumped into the economy through vast public works, directly and indirectly creating jobs, raising the level of demand and productivity throughout Germany. A lasting image of the 1930s is of Hitler and other Nazis proudly opening autobahns, futurist highways of a new age. It was a more ruthless New Deal than Roosevelt's. The destruction of trades unions making the manipulation of the economy easier than in America.
We might want to grab just one of these if we don't have it already, I think.
The great parades of Nazism,
So,
stupefying to the eye,
I haven't been
were
making
the
notes, heck.
genuine expression of a nation willingly, gladly, and gratefully marching symbolically and
Swipe.
actually in step with the will of
Medium
one man.
artillery.
Already in 1933, the system of reparations had collapsed. Hitler
We already have some
first
light
made an
artillery.
attack upon the principle of disarmament. Hitler's predecessors in government had been party to a lengthy conference of disarmament demanding revision of the treaty. Hitler, sensing France too weak to do anything and Britain thinking the treaty unfair, simply walked out of discussions and ordered rearmament. It was a gamble. The French raged, but as Germany began to once more launch U-boats, began openly to develop tanks, as the skies began to fill with the embryonic Luftwaffe, nothing happened. Hitler had challenged the British and French to fight. The gamble paid off. Nothing happened. Hitler simply left the League of Nations, and nothing happened.
Dude literally just went, really? You ain't throwing hands? All right.
March
I'm gonna take it and run then.
Germany reclaimed the Saarland. Yet another chapter of Versailles and the post-war settlement unraveled. The Saar was a small
That's
but
fine.
important area of Germany adjacent to the
Man,
French
what a
border,
goofy
and
car.
was seized by France at the end of World War I. The Versailles Treaty promised that after 15 years of French occupation, the
No, we got
population
plenty of
the
those.
Saar
This
would
is
vote to
literally
choose
useless.
French rule, German rule.
Shout out to my one guy that actually loves this thing and finds it incredibly useful.
It was now 2 years into Hitler's
Armored cars were
regime.
fine on.
Any Saarlander
Oh yeah, I
knew
want to
that
check out
union
this.
with
What is
Germany
this?
meant joining an
Oh, this
aggressive
is like a
militaristic
huge
dictatorship,
piece.
that it would be a democratic
It's very
fight to
big.
end democracy.
We already have some
The
mobilier.
people of the Saar
I don't want to
were
like
as
clog up
educated,
my
as intelligent as any
tech tree with
European
just
people.
stuff.
The issues
We already
at
have
stake were
these.
fully
That's
and
fine.
openly debated.
That's
The
fine.
French made
That's
a strong
fine.
and attractive case for retention of their rule. The voting was free and fair, internationally monitored. 98% chose Germany, chose Nazism, chose Hitler. Each and every European of
Okay.
those times played a greater or lesser part in the
I
coming
don't
of
know what's
war.
causing these guys to swap out,
If the leading player on the stage
but
in
that's
Europe
fine.
was
It's
Hitler,
not a
the
huge.
supporting character was Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. Mussolini and Italy's story may be just as well explained as a desire for greatness. The Italian fascists came to power many years before the German Nazis, for reasons much the same.
Love the way this guy calls like says it.
In World War I, Italy had felt cheated of the due and just spoils in the peace. Mussolini
This is I love this piece. Same with the Ostwind. They're pretty neat. Oh, look at that detailing actually. That's good. That's pretty neat. Although we don't need it. We don't need it. Oh, it looks great.
Each had between actions and words. Mussolini boasted and bragged.
Which panther do we steal? I'm gonna steal a panther.
Italy was a weak country without the inherent strength, the wealth, resources, and the industry to back up proud words. Mussolini felt himself the creator of fascism and senior to Hitler. In later years, Mussolini, confronted with Hitler's successes, was impelled to somehow
We'll
put
do
his
the in
policies
between, which
into
is the
action.
A.
These policies of vanity and envy would desperately weaken the strategy of the Italian-German alliance.
Igor? Nah.
In 1935,
Igor? Nah.
Italy invaded the
Ace
African
Tigor?
country
Well,
of
it looks cool.
Abyssinia,
I'm a sucker for
modern-day
camo nut designs.
Ethiopia,
But
and
no.
the only African state until then independent, a feudal monarchy ruled by a god-king Haile Selassie. The two countries had fought in the 19th century, when Italy
Gorilla.
had been defeated by an African army. Mussolini wanted revenge. Abyssinia had plans of imperial expansion of its own, conflicting with Italian interests spreading from Somalia.
It's got a little flap.
Why did Mussolini send his forces into battle when he did? It was not as if the dictator needed a war to distract the Italian population from internal Italian affairs. Mussolini was secure in power and enjoyed the approval of the Italian people. It was not a war that Italy could particularly afford, and Abyssinia was not a colony worth having for its wealth. It was not that Abyssinia was the target of a rival imperial power. The world recognized that the remote African kingdom was in Italy's sphere of interest. There is probably no simpler answer
Nada.
to the vanity of Benito Mussolini.
Haha, Tigor. I like there's a big old dent on it. That's a cool
man's
detail.
ego determine the fate of a nation. How is the
And there's a machine gun on the back. I don't even know he can use this.
Country of which Europeans knew little, a step on the path
But I think
forward?
I think it's funny that
The
it's
answer
here.
is in the damage the Abyssinian affair wrought upon the
And then of
League
course Storm
Nations.
Tiger.
Abyssinia
All right.
was a member of the
Cool.
League.
Let's get out of
Selassie
here.
made a
Let's go check
dignified
out
appeal for
the
help.
Soviet.
The League debated action and imposed limited economic sanctions, but stopped short of the one sanction which even in the 1930s...
All right, let's see what they got.
the cutting of
Oh,
civilized
God.
property. Before any further action could be taken, the League was presented with the fait accompli of an Italian victory. Mussolini proclaimed the Italian king, the new emperor of Abyssinia.
I love how the Soviets get a
Hitler
Panzerschreck
watched
team.
these events at a distance.
It's kind of funny.
Although not a member of the League, scrupulously observed the sanctions
Scrupulously.
against the Italians. Hitler watched the inability to act, to agree action against aggression, and
Osmoz.
decided on his next move: the reoccupation of the Rhineland. The Treaty of Versailles forbade
Yeah,
Germany
for the Soviets, they go from 82 millimeter to 120, just
on
straight
March
up.
7th, 1946,
Ah, the quad
Germany
gas.
to cross the Rhine. It was a gamble.
Interesting. It goes straight to the
Had France
SG-43.
decided to go to war, Germany had not yet built up its strength to have any chance of resisting.
Ah, and they moved the Dishka to the anti-air. Okay, I
Gamble
see.
Hitler won.
Gotcha,
France
gotcha.
would not start a war alone. The British public
Uh,
would not countenance
Oh,
military
this is
action.
30. I love the little guy.
The British did not
Oh, the
think in terms of
BS-3.
giving in to Hitler. Rather, that the Germans were simply justified retaking full control of their own territory. The reoccupation of the Rhineland has been described as the real end of World War I and its aftermath. After this
Katusha,
time,
that's
Germany
fine.
ceased to right
Bye.
the wrongs of Versailles and moved to
BA-10,
aggressive
BA-64,
expansion.
blah, 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 blah. Na, 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 na.
From
The reason why I'm looking through this stuff is I'm trying to see how they're
It's
doing
hard
it,
to realize
basically.
the novelty of Hitler's tactics in the international politics of the 1930s. The whole ethos after World War I
T-50.
was disarmament and arms control. A world where politicians hid their strength.
There's like 3
said
more
they
T-30-45s.
possessed
That's great.
tanks and aircraft.
I kind of like
where
these are
nations
there.
hid
Bring some nice variety
they
in.
were building
A
arms
shielded
ships.
T-34. I kind of want
In
that now.
1934, in the British Parliament, there had been angry exchanges
Kinda fits
between
the,
Prime Minister Baldwin
the
and
idea.
Maverick backbencher Winston Churchill over the true size of the German Air Force. Churchill wildly and wrongly claimed that the Germans had a secret
Wildly and
already
wrongly
10 times
claimed.
stronger than the
All
Army.
right. Grill 'em.
Hitler turned this world upside down and claimed a greater strength than he had. In a paranoid climate of alleged secret forces, nobody ever
Oh, no,
suspected
LMG. Thanks for
countries
specifying.
would overstate its strength.
And this one does have LMG.
In 1936, civil war broke out in Spain. In 1931, Spain, an
Guards
old-fashioned
SM
traditional
Squad
country,
heavy.
had become a republic, and a
What makes them
process of
heavy?
change and reform
Just
began.
the extra machine gun?
Conservative Spain was alarmed by the changes.
I'm gonna
and in
assume the extra machine gun.
1936, the election of a government of communists and socialists caused elements of the army to break out in open rebellion.
Ah, the assault sappers. These guys get the like the plate carriers and stuff, and they all have SMGs.
Was part of a grand fascist conspiracy is doubtful. The Spanish generals were too aware of their country's long history as a great power. to be
Paratroopers.
anybody's
Oh yeah, they got
puppets.
these
Rebel leader
hats.
Francisco Franco was not a fascist, rather an old-fashioned conservative who valued patriotism and religion. A man who
patriotism.
looked to the values of the past rather than some revolutionary future. Yet the Italians and the Germans.
Oh, and you get
supported
PTRS
Franco,
instead. Look how
sending
big
planes,
this thing is.
soldiers, and arms
Good God, dude.
to discredit democracy
Panzerschreck team.
and used Spain as a testing ground for new weapons. Neither was prepared to risk war over Spain. Both were prepared to back down had Britain and France opposed the fascist intervention. Neither of the democracies wanted to become involved. Both feared the war would grow into a general European war. Once again,
Oh yeah, and then we
Hitler
get the
bluffed,
Dishkas.
and the
That is a
democracies
big
backed
metal
away.
plate. Does that just stay on the ground, or can you like
Soviet
mount
Russia
that?
supported the Republican government out of solidarity with the communists,
Let's find out.
who increasingly
Because if
came
you
to
can like
dominate the
set it up
direction of
on
the
like
Republican War.
a standing mount, this is great for like a trencher bunker. But if it's not a it's like a standing mount, it's gonna be nuts.
Distracting and dividing
So we'll find out.
enemies. The war might have ended quickly with defeat of
We already have a
Franco's
100 millimeter
had the democracies supported the legitimate government.
motorcycle.
It might have ended quickly had the strict neutrality Britain and France imposed been likewise observed by the fascists and communists. As it was,
Out
the
car,
fighting
blah,
dragged
blah,
on
blah,
for
blah.
3 more years. 3 years of
E50.
increasing brutality on both sides. Franco's
Oh yeah, they
troops
added these
killed
Shermans into
anyone of
the
most liberal opinion.
Soviets.
A third of Spain's clergy, monks,
These are pretty cool.
nuns, and priests were killed for their faith by the Republicans. The Spanish Civil War has gained a special place in history. To this day, no account seems capable of telling the story of Spain without partisanly refighting the battles. The mythology of the International Brigade, the few thousands of young left-wing idealists,
I'm gonna steal this armor
democracies
T-34.
who
Yeah, we're
joined to
gonna
fight fascism, paints the war
steel armored.
but
Sorry,
Spain represented the
shielded
conflict as isolated from
T-34.
Europe as the country itself. Subsequent history shows Spain remaining resolutely neutral in the European war.
Where's the?
If there was a Nazi plot,
Oh no,
Hitler
there's not a
gained
flamethrower. It's
little
just
benefit.
I'm dumb.
Some of those young men who fought for the Republican cause were from the United States.
This one's a flamethrower.
America, as a nation, was as
Flamethrower.
resolutely neutral over the issue of Spain as any other. Without the United States, the history of
Okay.
World War II would
This
not
costs a
be
couple
complete.
coins more.
But America
Does the sandbags actually add armor?
the world stage of the interwar
I mean, if they do, that's
period.
pretty
Throughout
neat,
the
actually.
1920s
If
and
they do.
30s, America gazed inward to its own complex society.
Nah, I love it when tanks
While
get dressed up
American
like this.
ideas had been responsible
And
for
the
much of the
infamous.
idealism that permeated Versailles, the Congress
Oh
of the
man.
US refused to ratify the treaty. America was to have nothing to do with the League, nothing to do with policing the system of security that the treaty
Yeah, America noped out. We're like, nah, we're good. You guys can sort that out.
vast problems of its own.
We gotta sort our own
The
crap out.
chaos of the Great Depression and the Wall Street crash. It was chaos that affected industry and agriculture alike, causing mass unemployment and huge.
Man,
internal
landship
losses of
designs are
population.
wild. Sorry, I'm looking at the T-35 and
It
I'm
was
just
a
like,
time of
bruh.
civil unrest, with mass protests before the White House. General Douglas
Churchill.
MacArthur earned himself a different niche in history, as he commanded U.S. troops to prepare to fire on U.S. citizens. A bizarre side street of history is that in 1930, many serious strategic thinkers and military experts thought that if any major war were to break out in the world in the next 10 years, it would most likely be contested between the United States and Great Britain.
We're gonna duel it out again.
Was traditional
Round
in a
2.
society 2 oceans away from the rest of the world. In 1932, a new type of politics came to power in America with the election of Democrat
Huh?
Franklin Roosevelt.
Franklin Roosevelt. I've never heard it said like that
In
before.
the New Deal, American interests
Am I
were ever
crazy?
more closely focused on affairs at home and not across the seas.
Mr. Roosevelt.
America was, in fact, to become the most deadly enemy of Hitler in the coming war.
Are you sure?
The underestimation of America was the Nazi
Oh.
dictator's greatest mistake. America was held by Hitler to be a country of no threat.
I didn't even know they added a scroll wheel down here. Wild. Anyway, you can get this now, I guess.
Isolation. The isolationism of the United States was reflected in its military strength. The USA could threaten no nation in the 1930s. While Germany thought the restricted 100,000-man army an insult, the United States Army was freely kept by Congress at around 135,000. Weak forces meant that
Patriotism.
the USA, even had she chosen to speak, would have been of little import.
Cool. That's Soviets done. No, I'm not gonna save
In
that.
1935,
Let's look at Finland.
wall against the world by passing the Neutrality Acts. These laws were the products of a conspiracy theory that U.S. arms manufacturers had engineered America's entry to the First World War. The new laws prevented U.S. arms sales to any nation at war. If Hitler paid little interest in the USA, Across another ocean, the Empire of Japan viewed America with
I'm sorry. I just love the music they use. they always do this. they always do this, and I think it's hilarious.
On the other side of the world, great movements of people and ideas were unfolding.
Oh, that thing. That machine gun, from what I recall, jammed like a motherfucker. Because it's got a hopper instead of like an actual feed, so you can get dirt in the mechanism super easy.
Emperor ascended the chrysanthemum throne, Hirohito. As was and remains the custom, a name was chosen for the era of the new monarch's reign. This was
God,
to
what
be
is this?
Showa, the era of illustrious peace.
What is this tech tree layout?
Nothing but peace to the peoples of Japan and Asia. In the interwar years, Japan's miraculous transformation into a modern society seemed to be failing. There was economic depression, high unemployment, and rural poverty. Japan had sided with the victorious powers in World War I, yet gained little from the peace. The abandonment of democracy by European states, such as Italy and Germany, seemed to hint to some Japanese that they too should abandon the foreign ideas and
All these
return to
boys
the
AT
traditional
rifles.
society.
Oh man.
Expansion from the crowded Japanese islands that lacked the resources needed to power a modern industrial society, seemed a way out of the problems of recession and unemployment. Japan eyed China covetously, resenting European powers exploiting the wealth of the region. Japan came to be allied with the fascist powers, but was not a fascist country. Economic need and greed were integrated with a traditional mythology to create a unique worldview. Japanese society at all levels between the wars became permeated with an ideology of Japanese racial superiority. The God Emperor giving the Japanese race a distinction over other peoples who had lost
Iron
their
sight,
link with the
man.
divine. This ideology saw a future war in which enlightened Japanese liberated the less fortunate of Asia, and a war of world domination that would be fought against the United States. As a developed industrial country, Japan shared in the industrialized nation's exploitation of China. Various treaties had allowed these countries concessions of territory inside China, with the right to station troops. The British territory of Hong Kong was the model. From this presence, Japan planned to expand. In 1931, Japan had faked an attack by Chinese troops upon Japanese forces in Manchuria. In retaliation, the army of Japan invaded and conquered the Chinese province.
What the heck is the point of
renaming
this?
it Manchukuo, and installing a puppet government headed by the last emperor of China, Pu Yi.
I mean, I understand the idea. You got a really low profile weapon. Are you supposed to use it while laying down? Is that what this is for? Oh man, I don't know.
The invasion of Manchuria is a major landmark on the timeline to war. It was the first blow in the death of 1,000 cuts that was inflicted upon the League of Nations. A whole year after the Japanese completed their conquest, the League issued a report, carefully and worthily written, that condemned
Yeah, a
Japan's
bike.
action.
There's a bike trooper. I forgot.
Nothing happened.
This
Japan
hero.
left the League. This was a whole year before Hitler's
What
rise
weapon do
to
we have
power.
here?
In
Pistol.
November 1936, fearful of Russian communist ambition in the Far East.
Oh, you know what this is? This is one of those like
Japan,
dedicated anti-tank
Germany,
weapons.
and
It's garbage.
the anti-Comintern
It's garbo.
directed against communist expansion. This was not a relationship of great trust or shared ideology, more of expedience and fear of a common enemy. Japan knew that Nazism's white
I love all
supremacists
these
would
little
never be
skulls.
reconciled with their own racial supremacy. In 1937, full war broke out between China and Japan. The reason again, a faked attack by China upon Japanese troops. The Chinese, led by the aggressive Chiang Kai-shek, fought back. The war was to be long and vicious from the very start. In December 1937, the Chinese capital of Nanking fell. As many as perhaps as 1/3 of a million Chinese
Cool.
were killed.
All right.
An orgy of murder, rape, torture, and looting. In 1937, 1/2 of the World War had already begun. Chinese
Now let's look over my
historians
stuff
believe
again.
this was the start of World War II.
All right. Let's take a look.
Stalin's Russia seemed the exception in a Europe full of states that had some grievance at the end of World War I. Russia's interest in international affairs was cautious and pragmatic, designed mainly to ensure no great coalition of capitalism was formed against Bolshevism. This was the time of the mass industrialization of the Soviet Union, of the 5-year plans. These years were the years of the purges.
Oh, the purges. Oh boy.
Terror, fearing the enemy at home, and dreading betrayal, denunciation, imprisonment in a
The teeth are. Wow, it's running. No way.
were to die and disappear. In the despotic terror of Stalinism lay a fearful dilemma for the democracies, which explains much of what has come to be called appeasement.
Hokey, we're getting rid of.
Who was worse, Hitler or Stalin? To Western Europe, Bolshevism seemed far the greater evil, and Hitler at least a stern anti-communist. The actions of the politicians who wore suits, the Democrats who faced Hitler, are the counterparts to Nazi aggression. The mythic history of the war condemns them as appeasers, weakly giving in to Hitler's lies. The truth, though, is more complex. As soon as the Versailles Treaty was agreed, because the victorious powers had no sanction,
I'm debating if we just get rid of the BTR 60PB. I want to clean up the tech tree
compromise, appeasement became
because it's a
the
good
way
alternative to the M113 because it's all enclosed,
of the 1930s.
and but it sacrifices a tiny bit of firepower to do so.
Britain's first
But it's
socialist
also
prime minister
wheeled
and
as
a
well,
man who
so it
played
gets
a
affected by
pacifist
terrain
in
differently.
the First World War.
Hmm.
Macdonald believed Germany had fair grievances that deserved redress. His successor from 1932 was Stanley Baldwin, a placid, uncharismatic man who refused to be panicked by Hitler's aggression and thought the French hysterical and paranoid.
Hysterical and
British policy
paranoid.
was determined by men who thought Germany deserved better treatment and who refused to get upset by Hitler. French policy was determined by more complex emotions. The French felt aggrieved and threatened by Germany, yet were paralyzed by a cynical defeatism that prevented a positive action against Nazism. They refused to act without British help, convinced war was coming but that nothing positive could be done. Their view of the world came to be expressed in spectacular physical form. The French were to devote incredible sums of money in the second half of the 1930s to the construction of the Maginot Line.
Oh no, not the
Named after
Maginot
French
Line.
minister who conceived the plan. The line was a complex of futuristic fortifications. The
Futuristic.
line ran from Switzerland to the Luxembourg and Belgian border and was designed to deter German attack.
Yeah, Maginot Line.
All France's
Woo.
western border. It was thought impolitic to extend the forts against the
What if we just like
Belgians, a
stack them?
friendly and neutral country.
Make it optional.
Nearly 500,000 French troops inhabited underground cities
No,
of
we'll
war,
leave it. We'll leave it. I
many
think it's okay.
huge
I think it's fine.
ammunition stores, deep armored bunkers with underground roads and railways. The rigidity of the Maginot Line reflected the French strategic mind. People who gaze into the future too often only see their past, and France could not imagine a future war which did not begin with a German attack in the West upon France.
Oh boy, are they in for a surprise.
France France made defensive alliances in the east. But with what states did France make these defensive alliances? Czechoslovakia and Poland. Small countries, weak countries, countries that had scores with whom Hitler had grievance, countries that had German minorities, had German territory. Poland was notoriously unstable and aggressive, with delusions of great power and status. These alliances would be more likely to drag France into a
let's
war
do
as deter Germany.
this. Infantry.
Not all politicians in the democracy
Clean up.
pleasers. In Great
Remove.
Britain, Winston Churchill constantly warned that Nazism would in the end bring a huge war. In Churchill's story once again, the history and
Squad
mythology of
7.
war grind past each other.
Remove.
In the 1930s,
Flamin.
Churchill was thought a dangerous eccentric who, by his constant calls for more arms, was likely to bring about war. Churchill already had a long history in British politics and not a history covered in glory. As a cabinet minister in World War I, he was forced to resign over disastrously conceived
That's
campaigns
fine.
which had cost thousands of lives. As peacetime chancellor,
ATRPG, that's fine. I like that. Regular.
for catastrophic mishandling of the economy, causing economic chaos. Churchill was, in many ways,
Change. Regular. Research.
diehard
Cost
conservative
1.
with a mind
Minus
closed to
1.
new ideas. Churchill was trusted by almost no one, thought an unprincipled
Desert.
politician who had changed parties cynically for personal gain.
Cacti.
That history has vindicated
Research.
Churchill makes it hard for us to realize
Plus
that
1. Just
1933
shift that around.
and saw the pragmatic common sense of the British government prepared to deal with Hitler as the
Move. Colin. Volunteer squad.
In May
They're square.
1937,
Below.
Chamberlain became British Prime Minister.
Shrunk.
Chamberlain has a sad place in the history of the war. The wisdom of hindsight and the
That should
mythology
be fine.
of war makes him arch-appeaser,
Oh.
the betrayer of small countries, the mirror
Fix
of weakness
volunteer
against Churchill's
cost. They don't cost anything right now, which is not correct.
Let us add
They should cost something.
we, in our turn, as people of reason and fairness, not attempt everything possible to avoid the recurrence of war. Would we really follow the insane
These are
views
fine.
of Churchill?
These are fine.
Chamberlain was a sharp contrast to his predecessor, Baldwin, who placidly drifted through international affairs. Chamberlain, despite the appearance of a 19th century gentleman, had a keen mind. Was a
Looking good,
man
looking good.
who really could achieve in
Yeah, rearrange artillery, which I think is already put down. Yeah, splitting path.
to resolve rather than ignore problems.
Cool. Now we just have to go code it all.
Appeasement is a dirty
Yep.
word, synonymous with insipid surrender. In the 1930s,
Not bad.
it was the problem, not the enemy, that was appeased.
Let's
Appeasement
see.
meant negotiation and compromise. Chamberlain
Da ba
was
da ba da ba da
determined and
ba
principled,
ba.
who pursued what everybody, politician and citizen alike, saw as the sensible way to do things.
I lost track of where I was. There. No. That's still incorrect.
Some historians see the German annexation of Austria in 1938 as the start of the countdown to World
Ah,
War
yes, that's right. They just walked into Austria, basically.
The undoing of the punishments laid upon Germany at Versailles. The union of Austria and Germany, the Anschluss, went beyond any restitution and was aggressively expansive. Nazism believed all German people should be members of the same state, and Hitler himself had been born Austrian. The Anschluss would increase Germany's base of population and industrial strength, making further expansion possible. It would be the first move in pushing Germany's
Where is it? There we
to
go.
the east, which Hitler believed Germany's destiny.
Resources. Game logic .pick. I can't really show you anything without doxing myself, so we won't do that. But I'll describe it as we go. So we're gonna start just from the top.
History of violence and assassination.
which is U.S. half track, adjust and price cost. Yep. All right, so let's see. Where's the half track? So right now I'm just basically changing some numbers, make things nicer. Gun truck, M35, Bermed, Crad. Where is it? Yeesh. Alright, Hoki. I've just found the Hoki. We can just get rid of it.
Saw this as part of a gradual taking over of Austria and proposed
Hoki.
a vote on Anschluss. With
Hoki.
the reoccupation
Removed.
Hitler bluffed his strength. Now German troops began to really mass on the Austrian border.
You take his spot.
To prevent
Where is the requires? We'll just make it requires nothing.
An international crisis was the Austrians who wished to retain independence tried to rally support among the leaders of Europe. In a series of phone calls, they found no one would support Austria. Britain and France thought war not a price worth paying, accurately sensing that most Austrian people were not opposed to Anschluss. As German troops entered Austria, they were received with wild enthusiasm. Hitler is a hero.
Hey, Vinyl.
Austria was incorporated as part of the
Trying to find a way to cool off. Well, I'm coding and doing history stuff, so yeah, it's going well. I'm really have just been planning my coding and stuff, so I don't get lost. Here we go. Requires Hoki. Requires nothing now, and the cost will be increased to 4. Oh fuck, wrong button. Sorry. There we go. All right, there's that. Here, I'll expand this a little bit more.
Of the state of Czechoslovakia to face the might of Hitler's ambition and wrath. In the defining moment of the 1930s, Neville Chamberlain flies to Munich to resolve the crisis. The great powers of Europe meet to decide the fate of the small Central European country. The Czechs wait outside to be told their fate.
Thank you for asking, by the way, Final. I hope your stream went good too.
As the definitive appeasement are lauded by the peoples of the world. Chamberlain returns to London a hero. He promises peace in our time. Too soon, the climate of ecstatic relief and joy dissolves, as it's realized that Hitler will not keep his word. A grim realism seizes Europe as Britain and France begin to rearm. The eastern ambition and hunger of Hitler grows as his gaze falls upon the remainder of Czech lands. The nation of Czechoslovakia dissolves. All over Europe, there is a fatalistic certainty that war is coming. Poland is the subject of Hitler's mystical belief and territorial avarice in a move which shocks the world. Nazism and
That should get rid of our little half-track thingamajig.
Enmeshed by alliances disguised.
All right, so that should be Hoki removed.
Are committed to aid Poland.
Yes.
And war breaks out.
Half track. All right, we gotta actually. That was on the top of the list, and I couldn't find it. Oh, part 2. Here, skip. Where did I put it?
It is 1930.
Where the heck is the half? Oh, found it. The cost. What's the cost of its cousins?
With an ever-increasing, ratcheting tension.
Whoa. Why is the Bradley cost only 80? What the fuck? No, it should be like 5, maybe not that, 450. Sorry.
The new nation.
Sorry.
The most powerful, the most populous, the most industrious, jostled for its place as a great power. The older great powers, France, Russia, and Great Britain, resented the newcomer. Rivalries and resentment burst into a terrible war.
There we go. Sorry.
Was to mourn the loss of an entire
450. That'll do.
And the bravest.
That's all good.
It ended not cleanly, not finally,
Not cleanly. Yeah,
In a way,
I wouldn't think it would end cleanly.
soon returned to Europe. Germany collapsed in defeat, but remained the largest.
Alright, so we'll make the
strongest,
half
and
track.
the most powerful nation state in Europe. Germany believed its army
150.
had not been defeated.
Yeah.
The German people had not seen their country invaded. Their cities, their towns, their countryside was not devastated. Germany's soldiers had marched home in good order.
What
not
in the
as
world is this
pathetic defeated rabble.
crew equipped with?
The myth grew of a stab in the back, of betrayal by enemies within Germany. The peace treaty of Versailles was not a peace settlement. It punished Germany with loss of territory. It punished with reparations, tremendous sums of
Change the
money
crew
were
out.
to pay for the war, pay to rebuild France, pay the debt European countries owed to their American ally. It punished Germany
Crew
by
one,
destroying the
crew
nation's
man,
proud armed forces.
1,
The
2.
German army was to be a fraction
We'll
of
make
its
you just
previous
1,
strength
because then
and
people can load up their
deprived
truck
of
however they
most
want.
modern weapons.
Great.
The
Alright.
settlement did
Half
not
track.
destroy Germany
Price and
as a
cost?
threat, as
Yes.
a rival, and it provided Germany with yet new grievances. The new map of Europe created a patchwork of
believe.
small, weak countries on Germany's eastern border, countries with which Germany now had scores to settle. Versailles kept the war alive in the mind of every German. In a Germany resentful of history, in a Germany suffering endless economic crisis,
I'm camouflaged in my own background.
and a leader arose that gave
I
voice
love it.
to those resentments and promised action. A movement that promised rescue. A leader who promised redemption and renewal of German destiny. Hitler and the Nazis rose to power through the structures of German democracy.
Well, we're gonna
and
reduce
then
you down.
those same freedoms. Nazi Germany proceeded
I'm
to
gonna make
systematically
the
destroy
half
post-World
tracks
War
actually
I
cheaper than what they
settlement and the
are,
structure it
so that way
defined
there's
for
actually a
Europe.
benefit to
All
using
over
them
the
outside of
continent
trucks.
And all over the world, the pace of change, the flow of events,
Because in my opinion, I find that they're not worth the cost a lot of the time.
Japan began on a path
They're
to
kind,
based on a
they're
belief
kind of
in
overrated for their cost.
supremacy. The Second World War
So I'm making them slightly more
in 1937,
accessible, I guess.
Japan's brutal,
I mean, the
furious
cost is remaining about the same,
attack upon
but
China
their CP, which is how much space they take up
returned
in
to Europe in Spain as the Civil War
here, shut up for a minute. The cost they take up in the deployment screen basically is way lower. That way you can actually use more stuff. Yeah, that's it. It just you can use more stuff.
The fires of war fueled by the extremes of fascism and communism, with the democracies standing in impotent neutrality. The second fascist power in Europe, Italy, embarked on a war of conquest, annihilating the independent African
What's next on the
country
list?
of Abyssinia.
We reduce the
The lesson
cost.
to the world was that violence was the means to the end.
Add crew to Humvees.
And
Ah,
what
yes,
began
the
upon
Humvees.
Hitler unpicked Versailles, rearming the nation, turning with
yeah, you guys
open
should
eyes
have.
to his weaker neighbors. Germany was
Actually,
like
let's do something a little
Austria,
finicky
a
with
move
this.
that made Germany even stronger.
Period late instead. What that does is that'll allow me to use a different unit type for the crew. And I'm gonna change the crew
Retreated behind the oceans
to
in isolation. France
a
encircled the
different
defensive
rifleman type.
Maginot Line as a shield against aggression, but feared to renew the war. Britain had no desire for war and saw justice in Hitler's demands.
And there will be 2 people in it, and then you can load it up with whoever you want.
Without resort to war, to use diplomacy, negotiation, and fair compromise. The word history has come to use of these times is appeasement. It is the autumn of 1938.
Cool.
And Hitler
Add crew to
has turned his
Humvees.
gaze to
Yes.
Czechoslovakia.
Adjust crew accordingly, though.
Situations is called
Or cost
internment
accordingly.
and
Yes. Yes. Change Gwillian and Shilka. Alright. So, kind of have to. We're gonna have to do the shulker and stuff later with the tanks, because the tanks are gonna be something fierce. Cut. Paste.
In October 1938, the leaders of the great powers of Europe gathered at Munich in Germany for what was perhaps the first modern summit meeting. But this was no stately diplomatic conference held in a palace. The leaders flew to a conference held before the newsreel cameras of the world under the gaze of the public eye. The leaders speaking sound bites for the media.
When I come back, I hope I may be able to say, as Hotspur says in Henry IV, out of this little danger, we pluck this flower safely.
Actually, I'm gonna steal some stuff from the Valor mod.
Czechoslovakia was a democratic state.
So Valor mod has like
Czechoslovakia was a thorn in the side
much more stuff.
physically thrusting into the light, politically challenging both the ideas and beliefs of Nazism. Czechoslovakia
And I'm gonna pull them up in the editor, and you can see what I'm looking at.
Germany between her and her French ally, and surrounded by
So I might steal weapons and equipment from Valor.
fail. If Hitler and the Nazis chose to act against Czechoslovakia, there could be no half measures on the part of Britain and France, no sanctions that would help, no supply of arms. To protect Czechoslovakia,
Yeah, there's even like a whole British tech tree. Ugh.
general war.
There's a TOG too. They had to put that in.
The nation whose future lay on the table at Munich had a modern army, but was not a fundamentally strong state politically. Czechoslovakia was not a state of Czechs. The modern democratic society contained minorities of Slovaks and Hungarians, and, above all, Germans, the Sudeten Germans, a 3 million strong minority
Almost there.
living in the areas adjacent to Germany. The Austrian Anschluss set these people afire with excitement. They were aflame, ungovernable, stirred by a call of history, destiny, and blood. The citizens of Austria abandoned democracy for nationalism.
There we go.
The Germans of
Give me you,
Czechoslovakia
editor.
went the same way. Hitler did not foment the nationalism in the Sudeten Germans. He simply tapped into passion and desire that already existed. Of course, Hitler sought to liberate his fellow Germans, but he also wished to eliminate the Czech nation as an ally of the French and add Czechoslovakia's modern industrial economy to Germany. As the leaders gathered, both sides had differing goals. Both Hitler and Czech President Beneš wanted matters brought to a head. Hitler and Beneš did not want to compromise.
All right.
Czechs knew
Let's
that
see.
any concession to the German minority would
Valor.
from their
Activate the
other
Valor. Deactivate my mod because it's a
total
curse.
success. The French and the British
Game might
wanted a
crash.
compromise. They did not want to risk war or humiliation. In negotiation, the British, led by Chamberlain, actually thought the Sudeten Germans were a minority whose rights were ignored by the Czechs. The French had an alliance with Czechoslovakia, an alliance the French made for French benefit to threaten
There we go.
Germany with war on two fronts. Now they realized they were
Right.
impotent to aid their
Let's go look at
allies
stuff.
and desperately needed to avoid the humiliation of breaking their promises to the Czechs. Chamberlain reluctantly said, if Germany did decide to destroy Czechoslovakia...
All right, so we have a big list of stuff here, so let's just go through it.
The objective
Oh, it's a flak bus.
of Munich was not to restrain Germany, not to counter Hitler's ambition.
Oh,
It was to make the Czechs give
oh, I don't know
to
about that one.
concessions that would prevent
Waffen
general European war. The
Okay,
Czechs
Blitz
frequently opposed concessions.
Tractor.
At one point, in the spring of
Tractor.
1938, they had mobilized
Oh, God, what is this?
German army, terrifying
Flak
Germany and
18. Okay,
France.
yeah, purple stuff is modded stuff usually.
All throughout the summer
Pack
of
track,
1938, the great powers
mortar
of Europe
track,
had circled round each other,
and then
guessing
some of
each
these is my
other's intentions.
walking Stuka.
Beneš thought that by defiantly raising
Some of these may just not work, by the way. They might just crash, which is cool.
Hitler, knowing Britain and France's reluctance to go to war,
He's so stubby.
way,
He's so
rejected
stubby.
compromise after compromise, angrily accusing the Czechs of attempting to ethnically
Pack
cleanse the
36R.
Sudetenland, and insisted that the Sudeten people would only be safe as part of Germany.
Oh, is this like a Russian one? Yeah.
Chamberlain was certain
Raketten
of
warfare.
Hitler's good
I
faith
don't know what the
when
frick
the
this thing
German
is supposed to be
promised
to begin
that he
with.
had no further demands of Czechoslovakia than the
Car.
liberation of the Sudeten Germans.
Special,
Issue
nothing,
came to
tank.
head with the International
Tiger
Summit meeting held
Porsche.
at Munich on
This thing's
September
actually pretty neat.
29th. Hitler made no demands at this meeting.
Black
He
Panzer.
waited for the
Eins.
proposals to be offered. The angle
Martyr.
the French offer to Hitler was everything he asked.
Martyr.
The Sudetenland to be incorporated.
What the heck is this?
Firmly
Panzer
believed that the
2J. I don't think
incorporation was the
Wisp.
right thing to do, and
Wisp.
believed Hitler when he said that he had no desire to rule the Czechs. The Czechs
Sticker
were told
Max.
that if they did not accept, they, the Czechs, would be responsible for the war.
Oh, what is
Respect
this?
and honor.
Oh,
The Czechs signed,
interesting.
and the
Hummel.
Sudetenland became part of the German Reich.
That's just like an 88 slap to a.
Many
Yeah.
years later, and
Oh, it's the War Crime Panther. I didn't think I'd ever see this again.
that had remained
Outside of War Thunder. Oh, it's the War Crime Panther.
the only
It's a war crime because it has a bunch of U.S. and indicators and stuff, and it's meant to be like disguised as the M10.
regarded in history as the definitive appeasement and has made that word synonymous with betrayal.
Hence,
Yet,
War Crime
as a
Panther.
judge, with the benefit of history, would we have gone to war?
It's neat,
Or would we
actually,
have
in its
seen
own
Hitler's
cursed
spirit,
special way.
Principle and fairness coming together with expediency. Perhaps the words for which the Munich crisis is most remembered are not those of the agreement reached over
Alright,
Czechoslovakia.
so let's close
When that agreement
Germany.
had been made,
Let's
Chamberlain
check
requested
out
another
a.
meeting with Hitler. He presented Hitler with the draft of the statement. We are resolved that the method of consultation shall be the method adopted.
Oh, the
to
Higgins
deal with
vote? Yeah,
any
yeah,
other
okay.
questions that may concern
A
our
car. So this
We are
should be all.
determined
Oh
to
yeah,
continue
they.
our efforts to remove
Yeah.
possible sources of difference, and thus
They stuck a bunch of pipes and said, throw a bunch of. I'm pretty sure it was literally just a bunch of bazookas or something.
and enthusiastically signed.
You're gonna knock out your windshield, dude.
Chamberlain proudly waved to the crowd.
Willie's Harley. Oh, motorcycle, duh. Doge.
This is the second time that there has come back from Germany peace
Cannon.
with honor.
Uh,
I believe it is peace for our time.
I mean, I could do stuff with that, but I don't think it's necessary. I might take this though. Oh, what the hell is this? I'm probably gonna snake this 105, 40, 57, recoilless rifle, pack, howitzer. What the heck is this? 76 and 5. So this is like the anti-tank gun. Basically, they took the 105 and said slap an anti-tank gun on the chassis. The late version, which it just kind of looks cool.
A new system of security and peace throughout the continent.
We'll try that. And then this big 90.
Oh,
Oh, that's a disgusting mount.
And the resentment, replacing a European order directed at Germany and German ambitions with one that was based upon fairness and justice.
2, 20
Hindsight,
Greyhound.
knowledge of what follows makes us see the whole affair as a fraud. The events at Munich were logical. They followed on from events which had gone on before. The French had abandoned each clause of Versailles without a fight. The French did not fear military defeat. They had absolute faith in the Maginot Line. But they saw no point in going to war over minor issues and abandoned
Maginot Line.
threatened to bring
No. What in the world is this? Oh, this is like
In later years,
old.
America would congratulate itself at having had no part in the affair and condemn
Textures.
other democracies. The lesson America drew in the medium term, when Munich went quickly sour, was that they should withdraw even more from world affairs.
Yeah, just noped out. Nah.
Good man. It's a pointless speculation to wonder what if America had lent its weight to the cause of democracy at Munich. The Russians resolved that Britain and
We could
France
throw a
could only be
Pershing in to
trusted
kind
as
of
allies
divvy it up, I guess.
and that the USSR
Spread
should seek
what
an
in the
understanding
world? Oh, that's like the long Pershing.
Britain's position was that Germany
That's
did
the
have a
hjonk
moral right to
Pershing,
Sudeten territory.
and
They
that's
saw the Europe that
just a
Munich
World of
created
Tanks thing.
as a safer, more stable place. Once the authority of the Czech government was broken by the transfer of the Sudetenland, the state of Czechoslovakia fell apart along its own fracture lines. The Slovak minority came up with its own demands for independence.
Nah, we don't
and
need it.
autonomy.
See, we already have the M18.
And
Already have a long
patronized
jumbo.
the Czech government in Prague proposed occupying
Yeah,
Slovakia.
the gun buzz.
Hitler promptly recognized the independence of Slovakia. The Czech state was destroyed, unviable.
I love how these look like they're inflatable almost.
Beneš's successor, and instructed him to sign away the independence of Bohemia, the rump of Czech lands, which on March
Zippo.
15th, 1939,
Calliope.
became a German protectorate.
Fury, this isn't Fury. This is this is Angry, the knockoff cousin. That's what this is. Angry, the knockoff cousin.
The British government held that the events simply proved that the Czech state was unviable, fractured by nationalities, and that Europe was made a safer place by its absence. Where the events really shifted, where history took a new path,
All right,
was in a
so
groundswell of
we
public
will
opinion.
steal
Perhaps in reaction to the joy of Munich, British attitudes in the streets, the views of ordinary people changed.
I believe we'll steal the American 76 and the
British
105.
media turned against appeasement and called for Hitler to be opposed. If we seek a pattern, a rationale for the way history unfolded in the 1930s, we can see that all Hitler's ambitions looked to the east, not to the west. Germany had lost territory to France in the west, Alsace and Lorraine, but there was no clamor for these areas to
I'm just
come
looking
under
at their.
German
They
rule.
updated their.
In the
Did they
south,
update their models?
Germans lived in Italy, but there was no demand for a return of these lands. There was no call for southern Germans to return to the homeland. All the avarice, all the ambition was directed east to Austria and Czechoslovakia. Hitler believed it to be the destiny
That should be
of
enough dudes,
German
right?
people to expand eastward. The peculiar Nazi view of the world
Perfect.
envisaged a future world that was largely agricultural and saw a German Aryan territory spreading out eastwards into an expansive Lebensraum.
I love.
This spreading of Germany,
They all like yell at each other. That's great.
Hitler saw this expansion as eastward into the vast spaces of Russia and the Ukraine. When the Nazi troops completed the annexation of Czechoslovakia on March 15th, 1938, German diplomats renewed demands
Their face.
return to Germany, and the
Oh yeah,
Germany
they did literally just lay down.
East Prussia.
I don't think we'll grab any of these.
Danzig was a German city. The corridor was German land, lived in by Germans, given to the new state of Poland at the end of World War I. The Poles
Even more
rejected
so given the
German
super
demands.
limited firing arc.
The British government almost immediately offered Poland an alliance. Previously, Britain had avoided making formal promises and
All right.
commitments against the Nazis.
That's cool.
The alliance, though,
Work on handler.
restricted the options open to the British government.
Pershing is
France
cool.
had made alliances in order to threaten Germany, but found itself in danger.
But we don't need.
Not safer.
How do you do? How do you do? I could just replace your ammo, right? Yeah, I can replace your ammo. Shouldn't be too bad. How do you do with sandbags? This is probably gonna crash the game. The game crashes whenever you deploy sandbags in this map, I swear.
Had Britain joined France in alliance?
Oh, cool. It's nice and level. Wait, is it only a crew of...
Lands which were occupied by Poland
Oh no, it's a crew of 4, but one dude doesn't hide behind the gun.
reshared by German states, Austria and Russia. Polish government was not a democracy in the same mold as Britain or France. The Polish government was dominated by the military. The ruling party, the cleansing movement, attempted to dominate all aspects of Polish life.
This dude's gonna be super vulnerable.
That sought to punch above its weight. It refused to contemplate.
But honestly, looks clean, you know.
The Polish government was headed by men with the same appetites for bluff who gambled on intimidating opponents, as did Hitler. World War II was the unfinished business that remained from World War I. Much of that unfinished business
Seems good.
between Germany
What about the 105?
enemies and between Germany and the smaller countries in the east. Poland had its own unfinished business with Russia, or rather the Soviet Union. The eastern
I like having varieties of artillery, thank you.
and in the end was established in a series of armed
Gotta
confrontations
saturate.
in the early 1920s. If Hitler had
Actually, it's a pretty solid fire rate too, so this is a good intermediate. Like,
equally looked to Soviet territory with envy.
what's the blast like?
The climate of
Yeah, okay,
oppression was
okay,
hardening
yeah, pretty
all
okay.
over the continent of Europe. In the spring of 1939,
All right, so we'll steal the.
Albania. Mussolini, always keen
Let's
to
see.
emulate Hitler, always driven by envy of Germany, and resentful of the success and dominance
What is
of
it called?
junior fascist power in Europe, mounted an attack on his neighbors
M2A1.
across the Adriatic.
M2A1.
Albania, with a
105
population of
millimeter.
nearly 1 million, was the most primitive state
Steal.
politically attractive
I mean, borrow.
by feudal clans and factions. The country was taken
76 millimeter M5
no
late.
fighting. Annexed to become Italian
Und
territory.
steal.
The King of Italy declared the King of Albania.
Cool. All right.
Mussolini intended that Albania be used
Ah.
as a stepping stone on a path of conquest throughout the Balkans and southern Europe to enable Italy to dominate the Mediterranean.
All right, and we will steal. We're gonna cut that.
And France recognized and accepted the Italian action.
Well, there's our medium artillery piece actually too.
In the
Bam, bam.
war in these
Increase paladin MSTA research cost. Can do, boss.
European affairs throughout the decade became increasingly involved.
Best part is I'm probably not even gonna really play this tonight. I'm just fixing it, so when I do play, I'm like, oh yes, progression.
It was Stalin that opened the door
Where is it? Where is the paladin?
with the conflict over the Polish corridor in Danzig. Hitler's aggression and ambition finally began to impinge on Stalin.
Ah, here they are in the artillery section where they should be.
Britain and France
You
saw
should
the
easily be 8, and you should also easily be 8, and you should also easily be 8.
Premier Daladier knew that if Hitler chose to fight in Poland, their alliances
And attack 'em just should be 10.
will help.
It's just that strong.
Poland was as isolated as had been Czechoslovakia. They could not.
All right, cool. So we've increased the research costs.
They could only
Yes.
threaten war from the west.
Fine 200 plus millimeter artillery.
Or play a game of
No need.
challenging them to start general European war in order to save a faraway country whom they could not.
Splitting
direct.
path. I have to finagle that.
France knew that the Soviet Union could.
Soviet Union. Sorry, I make fun of people's accents in these documentaries all the time.
Russians as bad, if not
Remove Panther 2.
They
Yes.
rejected any move that would bring Soviet
Where
troops
is he?
into their territory.
Panther 2.
The Poles thought that the Red Army, once inside Poland, would never leave.
What requires the Panther 2?
Inducement, no incentive that Britain and France could offer.
You'll.
Too
Uh.
often, histories use the language of the gambler.
Heck, I need to find another
describing the actions
hot
of
mod.
others. In Hitler's case, nothing could be truer.
Where's hot
With
mod?
the benefit of history,
And the hot mod
it's
devs are
helpful for us to
legends.
remember that the leaders of all the
Straight up.
powers in 1939 had little idea of what each other thought. To tell what we today call spin, propaganda, from what was truth. All through the summer of 1939, Hitler was involved in negotiations with Stalin. The negotiations were about nothing, were going nowhere. Neither Hitler or Stalin would say what they wanted. Both mistrusted each other. Both knew they represented political systems which were incompatible and could not coexist in peace. Then Hitler gambled. He revealed
does a lot of that. Are you sure this isn't just this guy having a big gambling addiction and it just kind of worked for a little while and then it didn't work?
Poland was obsessed with territory and saw the extension of his border westward as a resolution of old scores and, in his paranoia, an insurance against invasion. A non-aggression pact was signed between German Foreign Minister Ribbentrop and his Soviet equal Molotov on August 22nd. This news shocked the world, and at a stroke, all strategies of the British and the French were in ruins. No one knew of the secret clauses built into the pact that in
The
event of
secret
war between
clauses.
Poland and Germany, the USSR would attack in the east and take the eastern half of the Polish nation. Poland was falsely confident. It knew nothing of the secret agreement.
It
Poland
knew
thought
nothing.
Britain and France would attack in the west, causing Hitler to split his forces. In fact, when war broke out, the French did nothing and sat behind the Maginot Line, making small attacks, slowly mobilizing, calling up strength. The British were organizing the movement of their army across the sea. Hitler
Oof.
guessed the French would not
There he goes gambling again.
stripped the West of troops to bring overwhelming strength against the Poles. He planned a campaign so fast the French and British would be forced to watch helplessly as Poland was destroyed. Poland's army was outnumbered, outflanked, and obsolete in equipment. The Polish cavalry still used horses. There were virtually no tanks. Mostly obsolete aircraft had to counter a state-of-the-art Luftwaffe. On August 31st, Poland
All right, so we have
attacked Germany.
Hot Mod
In
now.
fact, German SS troops
Hot Mod is
faced an aggression.
awesome. We're gonna replace the M48. We gotta find a replacement M48. Might just steal their M48. Right.
By the end of the next
So,
day, the Polish Air
we
Force
might find some
was
extra cool stuff
destroyed,
too that
and
we
the
might
German
swipe
army
as well.
was deep into Poland. On September 3rd, France and Britain demanded Germany withdraw from Poland.
USA.
Chamberlain made
Yeah, they got a lot here.
failed to prevent war from returning to
Ha.
Europe.
I am speaking to you from the cabinet room at 10 Downing Street. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating
Patton,
that unless we heard from them
M47.
by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
Oh, the Starship. Yeah, that's right. The Starship's a thing. I love these documentaries as well, because they always just play sound effects. Like they're not. I don't even think they're from the footage half the time. Like it's just like, you know, whatever clips they could find. But hey, it paints an image, you know. It paints an image.
The attack on Poland saw the first use of blitzkrieg by the Germans, a new type of war, using rapidly moving, all-mechanized and armored columns, with coordinated air support smashing through and around slow-moving, old-fashioned Polish forces. The Polish army were rapidly surrounded and cut off. The myth of the war is of Polish cavalry charging tanks, yet military theorists in many countries, including Britain and France, believed that horse soldiers were seriously capable of defeating armor. Britain and France ignored the lessons of Poland.
God, no, you can't tell me they actually... Oh, they did. You know they did. Spoilers, horses cannot beat tanks. It just doesn't happen. We could add the M41. We could add the Bulldog as the cherry on top for the light tank line, actually. It doesn't sound too bad. Oh yeah, Intex. M101s. Fours, pack cows, Autar.
Had surrendered. Cynically, the Russians waited until it seemed certain that Germany would triumph.
Long Tom.
And finally moved on September 17th.
Yeah, I forget. It's actually Long Tom.
The German victory was stunning. In less than 1 month, at a loss of less than 14,000 dead, the Poles were defeated. Britain and France were shown as impotent. In the United States, President Roosevelt induced Congress to repeal an arms embargo, but the supply of arms was limited to cash and carry. Arms had to be paid for in hard cash and could not be exported in American ships. American public opinion was anti-Nazi and suspicious and fearful of Japanese ambitions in the Pacific, yet equally anti-war, the feeling of the ordinary American mirrored by the majority of Americans in public life. Charles Lindbergh, aviator and national hero, was an outspoken opponent of America having anything to do with a European war. America quietly hoped that Britain and France would somehow contain the Nazis.
Do those work?
That some compromise could be worked out with
I remember that they made them and then they were like, look guys, these work really good well. Or something.
From Albert Einstein to Franklin Roosevelt. Einstein, the most eminent scientist of his day, German and Jewish, a refugee from Nazism, was the only scientist who could write directly to the president and be taken seriously. Einstein warned Roosevelt of Germany's plans to investigate the military uses
That's right.
of the newly discovered atomic. He warned that in taking over Czechoslovakia, Germany had secured a rich...
Yeah, they did these recently. These are kind of new.
This single letter was to bear fruit 5 years later over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Germany's ally Italy stayed...
What the hell?
In March 1939,
I've got to give that a spin.
Germany had finally made a formal alliance, what Mussolini grandiosely called the Pact of Steel. The pact declared that either country was to come to the aid of the other if attacked, and gave Italy a free hand to direct strategy in the Mediterranean. As the
Let's
put
check
into writing,
USSR.
the Italians signed
Actually, it's
on
going to be
the verbal
Sov.
understanding that
Yep.
war would not come until 1942.
We could have an endgame. We could steal the T-10M as like an endgame
But the pre-war
heavy tank.
relationship between Italy and Germany
1957
was not
versus...
strong. Mussolini
As
routinely
opposed
the Germans
to...
thought Italy's imperial adventures
What? Oh, I bet you it's ammo types.
war might
It's got to be
start
ammo
between
types.
Italy and France
That's fine.
alone, which might distract and weaken France. The British and the French hoped from time to time to prize Italy and Germany apart. The two dictatorships had differences over the Anschluss with Austria.
We gotta find an
Had
M48
Mussolini
replacement.
offered an alliance to
That's what the goal
democracies,
is to do.
would have accepted. Hitler and Mussolini did come to have a strong personal regard for each other, but this was not something shared by the respective military and naval commanders.
Yeah, the
nor by
T-64 is still
ordinary
broken.
Italian and German.
Or Object
Italy's strategic
172
interests
or
lay in
whatever
expansion
that it
and
was.
control of the Mediterranean, the Lebensraum of the Italians. What
We
Mussolini
could
referred
do
to
the
as
leopard.
Mare
I'm
Nostrum.
thinking we'll do the leopard,
Our sea.
probably.
War came as a surprise, the pace of events overtaking world leaders. No country on either side was ready to fight in 1939, and
Frig.
all were taken
Frig.
unawares by the outbreak of war.
Where is it?
Germany
I
worked to a
think
long-term
we'll
plan.
steal the
Hitler had
leopard
come to power in
one.
1933 and looked for a
Yeah.
period of 10 years before
So M41 and leopard
and the Austrian and Czech
1.
territories absorbed. Italy was not ready for war and saw in the Pact of Steel
Place
a
with
guarantee of
leopard.
5 years.
They use the same gun anyway, so it's fine. One just the M48 just has a little bit more armor, which is whatever.
The fighting spread across the world. Both countries
Place leopard
centered
1.
worldwide empires. Britain was to call upon soldiers from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and South Africa, the Dominions, self-governing members of Britain's family.
Add
These countries willingly and unhesitatingly
M41
declared
Walker,
war on Germany
but
to
Walker,
secure Great Britain.
Bulldog.
From the colonies of the empire, Britain was to summon Indian, African, and Caribbean soldiers. French forces contained soldiers from Africa.
Redirect
Indochina.
this.
Presently, some of France's toughest fighters were from Vietnam. The first week of the war did in fact see a French
Cut.
offensive in the west. Remarkable
Pasta.
in the fact that its effect was so limited. Small numbers of French soldiers pushed 8 kilometers inside Germany to within sight of the Siegfried
Move Panther
Line,
2. Yes,
a
that should be
line of
done
German
now, I think. Let's
fortifications,
double check.
the match of the Maginot Line. And there they stopped. The professional
Copy that.
predictors and theorists, men who
Replace
look into the
Panther
future
2.
and attempt to foretell the future wars, often
Ditch
fail to
this.
see accurately, misreading the lessons of the past. In the summer and late autumn of 1939,
Go to
much of
units.
Europe lived in a state of
And erase
febrile
it from the
panic,
tech tree
fearing
entirely.
attack from the air with bomb and poison gas. Futuristic theories of war predicted mass aerial assaults on the city centers. It was commonly held that no
Panther
defense
2.
was possible against attack
Boom,
by
bang,
bombers.
boing, bong, gone. Save that.
Everywhere, shelters
Save
were
that.
built,
And
sandbags
just
were
for
piled
now,
around doors and windows of shops and public buildings.
let's quit this.
The people
Don't
of Britain
save that.
had been issued with 38 million gas masks. No citizen was meant to be without his mask at any time. This was a time when the life of the civilian descended into black comedy and farce. The distinct
Black
cardboard
comedy and
boxes and bags in which the gas mask was carried was too often turned into a useful shoulder bag and contained a worker's lunch. A market in sandbags developed, with speculators having bought up supplies in advance of war. New ranks of officialdom appeared. Air raid wardens patrolled the streets. They were to warn of gas attack by using children's rattles. They enforced a strict blackout at night, ensuring no light showed that could guide enemy aircraft. An immediate reaction to the outbreak of war and the fear that aerial attack was imminent was the mass...
Alright, let's check and make sure our thing didn't just explode removing that. I'm pretty sure it's about to explode. That's fine.
By the evening of September 3rd, nearly 1.5 million children, mothers of infants and pregnant women, had been moved to safety. In fact, fear of reprisals by chemical weapons meant that neither side in Europe was to
Crash!
risk
It
their
didn't
lives
crash!
in return.
Hey! That means I did it right.
Britain and France,
Neat.
although having done all they could to avoid conflict, were in fact able to look to a coming war
And
with
the
confidence, not
M48
fear.
is still in the tech tree
The subsequent
somehow.
history, collapse and rise of
How?
the following years clouds our judgment to the
Oh,
fact
because I didn't remove you
that
from the tech
Britain
tree.
and France mobilized,
Yeah, you're still in the
called
game,
up their
actually.
reserves, marshaled and equipped their troops. The numbers made
Ah.
war in 1939 appear
But
a risky
Panther. Ugh. Sorry.
If
The Panther is gone. Yep,
had
yep, yep.
their relative strengths on paper, they could sleep easily. Counting
All right.
already in the field, Britain and France could more than
Welcome to your average day of coding.
with all reserves called up. Britain and France combined could count on a total of 3
Okay.
Germany's 2.5 million. Even though Poland's
All right.
2
I know it
million
was short,
army had
but I am gonna call it.
and Germany could now bring all its
I'm
strength to the
beat.
Western Front.
I was up super late last night, and I'm as
And the French
yeah, as you can tell, I'm struggling.
number to the Luftwaffe.
So
Of course, Britain liked to
we'll
see
finish up this episode,
as a
and then we'll call it.
The concept of the alliance with France was that the Royal Navy would impose a naval blockade upon Germany was then the largest in the world. The British Navy's core of decisive weapons were 15 large armored battleships and battle cruisers, 7 aircraft carriers, and over 50
Attack'ems is fine now.
France, Britain's traditional naval enemy, had a fleet of 9 battleships and over 70 submarines. Germany's navy was small, 5 battleships and 50 U-boats. In World War I, the war at sea had played a hidden part in the war. The German submarine campaign had nearly forced Britain from the war, destroying the imports of food from the empire, which Britain needed to feed its population. In the later years of World War I, a fierce blockade by the Royal Navy had caused famine amongst the German population.
Ah, Quellion. We'll fix the Quellion.
Britain was vulnerable because so much of
So,
the food and material
what happened?
came over long extended sea lanes.
So the Quellion has a spot in the tech tree and a research cost.
Easily blockaded. A few
Yet,
ports
there's a
could easily
Quellion
be
available for
shut.
purchase. Did I type it in
As the
wrong?
navies prepared for war, it was
Is that
thought
why
the
that's
war would
like
be
that?
played to the
Did I type it
same
in
spot
wrong?
as
I
ever.
probably did type it in wrong. Let's go find it. Where'd I put you?
The pride of navies everywhere was the battle fleet, a fleet of large, fast, heavily armored, and heavily gunned.
Fast?
The number of
Fast?
these vessels
Fast battleship. No.
of each nation. On these measures, the cards were stacked heavily against Germany.
I mean, fast battleships existed, but they're.
In World War
I wouldn't call
fleets of Britain and
them
Germany
fast.
were only a few hours. No lesson had been learnt as to the value of the big gun ship. In between the wars, the size of the fleets and the size of the ships in them
Yeah, the Nelson.
were limited.
God, what a fuck off design. It actually existed, is what like boggles me.
Was no longer the capital ship, the decisive weapon of naval warfare. Aircraft were to make these ships too vulnerable to attack. A few cheap aircraft made on the production line in weeks could easily destroy a major warship that could take years and massive sums to rebuild. But this was not clear in 1939. Only some navies realized
It wasn't really clear until halfway through the Pacific War,
in the long-term plans
if you ask me.
a series of large warships such as
Well,
the
no, it was midway. Midway really kind of
aircraft
through like
carriers were built
through
for
that.
some future
All right, so
war.
I found a Quellion. Quellion I. Where are you in the research tree? Are you just Quellion lowercase? Are you Quellion lowercase I?
The submarine
I swear, if you're Quellion or whatever, if you're lowercase I, I'm gonna lose it. Where are you?
submarina's U-boat is forever associated in mythology
Where
as
are
the
ya?
first Nazi weapon. Yet, as with all navies, the
Yeah.
submariner was regarded
Nope.
as a second-class sailor by big ship admirals and had to face a struggle to establish their worth.
Huh?
In 1939, as war
Quellion
broke
I.
out, the British Navy was placed by
Us
Germany in
three.
the hands of
Did
Winston
I
Churchill
spell it wrong?
as the grandly titled First Lord of the Admiralty.
No.
Amazingly, Churchill did the
What?
same job in the First World War.
Why
Churchill had been the
are you
sternest
like
critic of
this?
the government in the pre-war years
What
as
happened?
a maverick in the political wilderness, calling for more arms and a military response to Hitler. Churchill
Requires
lost
all
office
that.
in
Is
World
all of
War
this
I
is
through
fine.
strategic adventure, impulsive wild schemes, particularly in Turkey. that
Why
cost lives in a failed operation.
are you
Returning to office,
different?
these traits reemerged.
Why are you not
Tremendous
researching?
energy in organizing and preparing the British Navy for war.
Did I accidentally
But
put
a
it
series of
twice?
Wild schemes began to emerge. Again, to draw Turkey into the war. To
Turkey.
incredibly place mines in Germany's rivers. To attack neutral shipping and ports, particularly those of Norway and Sweden, who were supplying important raw materials to Germany. Early on, in taking office, Churchill received a personal letter from American President Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt invited Churchill to keep me in touch personally with anything you want me to know about. The personal relationship between these two men, bypassing the administrations and structures of their respective countries,
Huh.
was to be of crucial importance in the coming years.
Why?
As the Poles succumbed to defeat and occupation, Hitler offered Britain and France peace. claimed to have no quarrel with France and desired active friendship with Britain. He called the war in the West a senseless waste of life and proposed a conference of the great powers that would create a new system of peace.
I'm incredibly confused.
He was rejected. We are so used to the story of World War, a globally consuming conflict that spread across the world, that the fact is lost that in 1939 the war was comparably small and could be reasonably assumed to be soluble. In Europe, in October 1939, and France were at war, as were Britain and France's overseas colonies. Germany was at war. Poland, an occupied, defeated country, sliced up and lost. The Balkans were at peace. Some were pro-German, like Romania and Hungary. Some were pro-British, like Yugoslavia and Greece.
Huh?
Italy.
How did this happen?
Remained neutral. Spain, a supposed
All right, let me
fascist
explain.
power, was neutral. Belgium
Let
and
me
the
explain.
Netherlands were neutral.
So,
All of
I'm trying to make an AA gun
yet were key suppliers
actually
of
cost
raw
something
materials
to produce,
France.
right?
Soviet Russia
Right.
trusted implicitly in the new relationship with Nazi Germany and believed itself safe from attack and
All
was neutral.
about that.
America was neutral.
Was.
Far
Keyword
away from
was.
China, another set of tensions and envy not related to Europe's problems.
Oh, look at that.
a
Look at that
serious
tank.
one
That thing is
for
loaded,
10
dude.
years. These wars were yet to join up into a world war. In Poland, a new order
Right,
rapidly
so-
came into force. The map was redrawn. The Soviet Union moved west. Germany moved
Soviet.
east.
Love this
In
guy's
both
accent.
Polish lands, those occupied by
We'll do this. Go to my dumb country.
Soviet forces imposed a communist rule.
I just gave it a name because I was tired of it being like, player nation.
Over 4,000 of Poland's army officers died in a bloody massacre by the
And if I open
Soviets.
this, right?
In German occupied
And it
Poland,
should
a
be
brutal
locked
lay across
right
the land.
here.
Nazism's
It even has the
racial
picture,
theories
right?
held the Poles
But
as
then if I scroll
Poland's large
down,
Jewish communities became the victims of the Einsatzgruppen, special SS squads designed to solve
I
Jewish
can just
problems.
summon. Why?
Freed of any fear of attack from
I have a
the
solution.
German will and forces turned to the west. and
We'll
began
remove
to
it.
assemble its might against the democracies.
We already have a bunch of AA gun tanks anyway.
War settled into its third month. A strange
So I'm
calm
really not too
settled
bummed out
in
about it.
Britain
Plus
and
it's on a
France.
dead end line.
Shock of Poland's defeat
So it'll just clean things up.
The aerial devastation by gas and bomb did not materialize.
Still very weird though.
History was to name this period with supreme irony as the Phony War.
Supreme irony. Yeah.
Next time,
That is
on
pretty
World War II,
ironic.
The complete history. The war is fought in remote and distant places. At sea, huge ships engage in conflict. The British Navy corners the German battleship Graf Spee and forces the
Graf
captain
Spee.
to scuttle his ship rather than face certain destruction. In the winter snows of Finland, the Soviet Union takes advantage of the situation, invading, seeking to conquer the smaller state. The tiny Finnish army runs rings round the Russians amidst the forests and lakes.
Yeah.
To the people of Britain and France, the war seems far away. It is the unreal war, the phony war. In the fields of northern France, a new British expeditionary force, in name and appearance so like its predecessor of 1918, takes its place alongside the French. It is the army that fought the Somme, Ypres, and Passchendaele, reborn. To the south, the French man and reinforce the Maginot Line, their new Verdun, an impregnable fortress which the Germans shall not pass. The world awakes from the dream of the phony war to the nightmare of reality. A bold strategic occupation of Norway brings Britain and France into direct contact with German forces for the first time. The result is fiasco, as British
Fiasco!
forces fall back in retreat. As a result, the British government falls and is to be headed by a man of destiny whose time has come. Winston Churchill.
search. Well. Alright. I will let the credits roll. These guys are awesome. Coelian. Goodbye, Coelian. There's only one. I had to have spelled it wrong or something, but it's okay. I kind of wanted to get rid of it anyway. Thanks, documentary guys. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah, no gameplay. Like I said, it's just really just me coding and messing with stuff. So we got rid of the Coelian. We removed one of the half tracks here and just made it this normal German half track. What else did we do? We just removed the Coelian from existence. We're gonna be splitting those. We removed the I already forgot about it. The Panther. Oh, I need to find a place for you too. Yeah, contrast. Don't worry about it. Tanks. Add a Leo to tech tree. Doesn't float around really. There we go. We'll save as Gates of Hell to do. Cool. Right. Yeah, literally just a vibe and stream. Thanks for hanging out today. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, nothing exciting. But I wanted to share some of my coding adventures with you. Well, coding / organizing / looking at stuff to steal. Steal. Yeah, no, it's a private mod. No one's going to have access to this, so I'm not too worried about it. Right. Have a good one, guys. See you around.